Because, for example, when you're talking to other people, you don't know what someone's going through until you actually talk with someone. I want to talk about how to go through grief. When it comes to movies and TV shows, they illustrate a point when it comes to grief. And I just want to give a few examples in this video. When I give these examples, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend that you see it so that you get my point before coming at me in the comments. So I just wanted to say that when it comes to grief, for example, in the Sonic film, they mention about how you need to, the Sonic film, the third one, when Sonic was talking to Shadow on the moon. So Shadow had to realize that he needed to remember the good times rather than having so much hatred towards himself and the world. And I do believe that everything happens for a reason because, when you lose someone, you start to put so much happiness into that person. You start to remember the good times, but because you remember the good times, you can't go back to it. And that's what people might say, that you can't go back into the past. And I'm just going to say this because you need to still live your life. You have to realize we only have one life to live. And I do get it that when it comes to depression, it's such a serious thing. Some people have severe depression, some people it's mild. So that's why when I do this video, I'm not just going to give you one solution, and I'm not going to assume that everyone is dealing with it the same way. And I just wanted to say that when it comes to grief, another thing I'm going to say when it comes to the Sonic film, because when it came to Shadow, he had no one to talk to. When other people look at you, they're going to assume that you're okay. If no one is talking to you, you're not going to go up to other people and ask them how to go through this, because you don't know what other people are going through, just like other people don't know what you're going through. And I just wanted to say that when it comes to grief, there's no right way to really deal with grief. You just deal with grief in many different ways. So for example, you're talking to people that have gone through it. You're talking to people that can give you a new perspective, but then also you're exercising and you're trying new things. Because for example, if you're doing the same things that you used to do in the past, you're just going to go back to that same memory. So that's why it's better to do things in the future and to realize that in the future you have so many people that you haven't met yet. And you have to realize that it is valid to want to go back into the past. It's valid to take as much time as you want, but you have to understand that when it comes to grief, you have to understand that you don't want it to hold you back. When it comes to grief, you don't want it to hold you back. You don't want it to be that years have gone past and you don't do anything. So that's the main takeaway of this video, because I want it to be that you level up. I want it to be that, for example, someone passes on, you find a way to learn a valuable lesson from it. And I'm taking this video seriously because I don't know how many people talk about this. People may have a thing that men don't really open up. People may say that men don't open up. People may say that women are the ones to make men open up. But you have to understand that men can go through things as well. Women can go through things. But I think people process it differently. Because even me, myself, I've had one moment where I had grief in the past, that when someone close to me was passing on, that I just froze. There was a tear coming down from my face. And I'm not reacting so loudly that people will know. But the reason why I think about that person and I'm able to move on with my life is because I have a future ahead of me. And that's the same thing for you as well, because when it comes to grief, it doesn't mean that you don't do anything at all. It doesn't mean that when someone does something you don't like, that you take it out on them. This isn't about grief. I just want to take it away from there for a second. So for example, when you have a bad day and you take it out on someone else, I don't shout at people anymore because I don't take my frustration out on them, because one time I had a bad day, someone else came over to me because we used to joke around, we used to laugh all the time. He came over to me and I know who this person is and I'm not going to say it because I remember, but I don't know if they do. But they came over to me and I had a bad day. And instead of me to just say, can you go away? I just need a few minutes to myself. I shouted at that person. And from me having a bad day, I made someone else have a bad day. And then we almost had a fight. But the thing is, when you're younger and you say you're going to fight, you don't actually fight. So that's why I'm just going to say that, because, for example, you have grief, but then you also have bad days. These are things that are expected to happen, where you have bad days, you have grief, and you have to realize no matter your age, you're going to process it the same way or differently. When it comes to grief, I'm going to say the second thing that came to my mind. And for example, I watched this show called The Summer I Turned Pretty, and then Taylor, she was talking to Stephen in the car. You know, for example, like Stephen and Belly, they gone through like a family loss, like a family friend's loss, that the mom kind of like passed on due to like cancer. And you have to understand that when people pass on, it's out of your control. You don't know when it happens. You don't know how it happens until it does. But when it comes to grief as well, you have to realize it may not even be your relative. It could be someone else's. And I do get it. That's why grief is such a serious thing, because you're grieving over other people that you don't know, but then you're also grieving over people you know. So let me get back to my point, because my second point that I wanted to say, happiness and grief can coexist. So for example, someone's grieving, you feel sad, but then you're also happy that good things are happening in your life because you worked hard for it, but then also you're doing it to make them proud. And that's what I wanted to say, because you want it to be that you can make yourself proud, you want to prove yourself right, you want to prove other people wrong that doubted you. And you have to understand that when it comes to grief, it's not about trying to like tell people what to do, but it's about listening to people so they feel valued. It's about listening to people where you're asking the right questions so they open up more. Because you don't want it to be that people don't tell you stuff because you're always judging them. For example, if you're the person that's next to someone else that's grieving, it would be better for you to listen to that person rather than getting that person more angry. Because when you get that person more angry, they start to take their grief and they take it out on you. Ever since that one incident that I dealt with grief, I've been able to deal with it in a more easy and effective way. And when I mean easy, it's because it works for me. So I realized that when I keep things to myself, that it's going to bottle up. I'm going to take it out on people. But when I'm able to record my thoughts, I process it, whether I talk to someone or I don't, I realized that I need some time to reflect. And I just wanted to say that it can overwhelm some people. Some people don't know what to do. The last thing that I'm going to say about grief, I know, for example, I said about The Summer I Turned Pretty, I mentioned about Sonic 3, of how to deal with grief. But the last one that I'm going to say is about Regular Show. And I feel like this one's so iconic because it started with Pops, but then it ended with Pops. So when it came to Pops, he was sacrificing himself for others, that sometimes you just need to do good for other people, knowing that it's going to help people. But then also, you're doing things because it's your purpose. And I feel like it's very important to find your purpose in this world. Because when you find your purpose, you're helping other people, you're uplifting other people. If you don't find your purpose, you're letting years go by, you're letting time go by. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because Pops always said it's a jolly good show. You need to find ways of how to make your life good again. Like, don't wait for things to be sad, and don't make it more sad than it really needs to. And when I say this, it's because I'm trying to say it in the most delicate way ever. If there's no reason to be sad, don't make yourself more sad. I do get it that happy moments, they make you feel sad. And I'm doing this video because I had a conversation with someone about grief, that they're going through it right now. And I'm just trying to take this in a more serious way, because I want it to be that I can share my thoughts, help someone out. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I'm not going to be like, I told you so. I just want it to be that you watch this video. I haven't even got my microphone in. I'm not trying to make myself look good in this video. I'm just trying to be honest, because it's literally like past 9 p.m. in the evening. And I'm not trying to look good. I'm not trying to do this for attention. I'm doing this because I want you to pay attention to what is important to you and to put yourself first, no matter what is around you. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You can comment down your thoughts down below, because there's so many ways to process grief, and it isn't just one way, but there's so many different ways. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon.